Yeah.
Ron, let's quickly look at. I know neither one of us have looked in depth here, but I'm just kind of curious your initial thoughts about the semifinal matchups here between. First, we'll say Cincinnati and Bama, and then Georgia and Michigan. My initial thought on Cincinnati and Bama. I would lean to the under to start with here. If Cincinnati has any chance, they want to run the ball. They want to make this a lower scoring game. They certainly don't want a shootout with Bama. Now, we just saw Bama score a bunch of points on Georgia, so it's kind of scary to take an under. I think you could make the argument that Cincinnati has a better secondary than Georgia, though. Georgia's secondary wasn't tested that much. Cincinnati has some really, really good players in the secondary, NFL-ready guys. I don't think Cincinnati has a very good chance to win a game like this, although, I like to root for the underdog, and I am from Ohio, so I will be rooting for Fickle and the Bearcats here. Ron, do you have any initial thoughts on this game?
Very much in line with what you said. And actually, if not for some fluke things, Cincinnati would have beaten Georgia in that bowl game last year. They had all but put them dead and buried. So Cincinnati can rise to this challenge. They legitimately have two NFL players in the secondary. Cincinnati is just that kind of team. Alabama, on the other hand, it's sort of a battle because I like running back forward of Cincinnati, but Alabama's run defense is even better than last year. The only data mining I've done on this game is compare last year's stats to this year to see where the teams enter in and how they progressed year to year. My most fascinating read on this game is about what happens with Ritter, the quarterback, who has NFL aspirations. It's been, because I'm older and I've seen all these Alabama games over the years, from the end of Bear Bryant all the way through, how you do against Alabama tends to matter. I watched Tom Brady completely dissect Alabama, and I think he's become a pretty fair quarterback in the NFL. And in my NFL draft report that year, I had him as the third best quarterback. I had him as a second rounder. So I'm very proud of that, although I'm ashamed that I said he was the third best, first or second. And then you saw Deshaun Watson of Clemson. He put up over 400 yards twice against Alabama. And that's just, and obviously he became a very good NFL quarterback, a great NFL quarterback. This is all about handicapping Desmond Ritter and seeing whether he has NFL potential. That's really the most intriguing thing I have in terms of what I'm looking forward to in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to talk against Desmond Ritter, but I don't think he's either of those two guys. And I'm skeptical as whether Desmond Ritter will have a huge amount of success in a game like this. They haven't played very many really good defenses. It's a really good point you make about Alabama's run defense. In fact, PFF rates them as the #1 run defense in the country. So can Ritter do enough? They're going to need him, because while Cincinnati would love to run the football consistently, it's probably not a formula for too much success in this game. I do think 58.5 might be a bit high for the total in this game. So that's my initial lean on this one. Let's talk here briefly about Georgia and Michigan. Michigan was 75% of the bets so far, and 87% of the money is looking at the odds board right now. The line here about Michigan +8, Georgia by 8 or so. The total has crept up here to 45 in this one. Ron, any initial thoughts on this game?
This is going to be a fascinating study for me, because Georgia did something you can't do in today's college football. 12 games, 73 points allowed. How is that even possible? And then there's Alabama, who just, whatever they scored on them, 40-something points on them. So which Georgia are we going to see? Are we going to see the Georgia that absolutely took care of business for 12 games in today's modern football? Or are we going to see how they were exposed by Alabama? With Michigan, my initial thought was, wow, they really, really committed to the run this year. Even when things weren't going well, they stuck with it. And basically what happened is they have absolutely and positively got to the point where they, ended up with a tremendous yards per carry number. And I think that's their recipe here. Georgia's run defense has been so stout all year, but Michigan is going to live and die by the run, it seems like, and hope for those play action passes. They're not afraid to pass, but if they have to pass 30 times in this game, I don't think that's Michigan.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even in their win over my Buckeyes, which I hate to talk about this game, you know that, but no, Michigan deserves credit. I mean, they were up for that game. They were more ready to play than the Buckeyes were. But even in that game, Cade McNamara made that really bad decision. That turnover could have really cost them. The Buckeyes didn't really make them pay for that too much. And Michigan just ran it down their throat there later in the game, obviously. So I think it will be key to see if Georgia's run defense, which, their run defense is third, according to PFF, in the country. I would think Michigan would not be able to move the ball very easily. At the same time, I guess the question is, Georgia's offense. I'm not sure Stetson Bennett's really a great answer at quarterback. I feel like he's a game manager who can beat the weak defenses that they play, but when he has to go win them a game, I'm not sure that he can. I think my initial lean here would be leaning toward Michigan plus the points. I would lean to an under too, but I hate under 45. That's a pretty low number. Yeah. So that's just my initial thoughts. I don't think either Ron or I have any strong opinions on these so far. Plenty of games to handicap, right, Ron? We got a lot of ways to go before we get to these games.
Yeah, I still have a lot of work to do to get caught up. I'm kind of I'm about 4 days ahead of schedule in terms of what I've handicapped. I'm nowhere near the January 1st games. I've not really done this game yet from a standpoint other than to get some initial reactions to see if the line was off. I didn't feel like the line was off according to my numbers, so I left it alone and went on to other games. I'm intrigued by the matchups. I'm excited that we don't have the same old in the Final Four. It's nice not to have Clemson in there. Sorry to Clemson fans. It's nice not to have Oklahoma in there. They had so many close calls early in the year, and I didn't think they were deserving of a Final Four spot. So in general, I think we got the right 4 teams, but we'll see if Cincinnati really belongs with an Alabama team that does so well off rest. And we'll see if Michigan is ready for the big stage against a Georgia team. You think they'd be better offensively, but they're not. But on the other hand, will their defense dictate this game? Like you said, leaning toward the under. It's a really good bowl season if we could just take away the opt-outs and take away anything that's going on with the country right now and just enjoy the games. I think we're in for some exciting matchups along the way.
I agree. I'm looking forward to a lot of these bowl games. And, with everything that's going on, I am looking forward to just focusing on some of the bowl games and, have a nice holiday season with the family and stuff. So, Ron, thanks again for coming on here today. I appreciate your insight. For everybody that's listening here, let them know where they can get your information from.
I'm available on Twitter at Ron A Sports. It's listed right there. And if anybody wants to DM me for other information, I do bowl previews. I do seasonal previews, NFL and NCAA, occasional write-ups week to week. Some of it is very statistically oriented. Some of it is prop oriented. And some of it is just fun and comical because you have to have fun with this. I make fun of coaches and I congratulate them when it's a job well done. 42 years of producing draft reports. So right or wrong, I've got opinions on there all the way through. And thanks for having me. Great conversation. Great to talk about the bowl season.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I'll be back with some more videos coming up in the following weeks. But as Ron said, I got to get busy here breaking down some more of these bowl games here for the next days to come. So, Ron, thanks again. And everybody, we'll see you next time.